Before I actually create an Azure DevOps project and getting into the middle of it, I thought I will first show you how to manage tenants so that you know exactly how you can create a tenant and delete a tenant. And that would really help you later when you actually try to create the organization and the project inside Azure DevOps. So when I say tenant, tenant is nothing but it just represents an organization in Azure Active Directory. So it's a service, and you can say that once you have an Azure AD tenant, you can define an application and assign permissions. You can start utilizing the tenants and then hook it up into your Azure DevOps project. Let's see now how you can manage tenants. So first I will show you how you can delete a tenant if there is one already, and then I will show you how you to create a tenant. So one more thing, your organization may already have an Azure AD tenant, and you can just use that for your application. But there are instances, maybe you want to create a new tenant altogether just for your application. So there are scenarios like that too. So like I said, let's start with deleting an tenant first, and then we will see how to create a tenant. What I will do is I will log into my Azure portal and go to Azure Active Directory. Then you have an option to manage tenants. So you can have multiple tenants and you need to click on this manage tenants. I will delete Manju demo organization tenant. So that is the tenant which I created. Just showing you the demo. In real time, you might not even have to delete the tenants that often. But anyway, I will show you how to delete a tenant if required. And I would highly recommend that you only delete the tenant which you created, and if you're really sure, because it will have multiple users and so many things linked with it. So be careful before you delete a tenant like any other resource. So I will select the tenant to delete and I will click in here. So it will say what all is holding it up from deleting. So I had two users in here. So and this is the admin user. This is the user I create. I mean, this is the user I use to log into the Microsoft Azure account. So obviously this is kind of admin. So except those two, I will delete the other two users and I'll click on OK. So two users are deleted now. And then I go back and I'll just refresh this and it says this is ticked now. Same way, I will also delete the Azure subscriptions if there are any. So I will click on yes here and just save it. So it is updating the tenant details. And then I go back here and if I refresh it, and that thing is gone because now that particular email address can actually access it. So it allows me now. So only thing holding me up is enterprise applications. And if you haven't created any enterprise applications of your own and linked it with here with this tenant, this one comes by default and you can't delete it. Um, if you go to properties, it says that you can't delete this application because it's a Microsoft first party application. So I did spend some time on this, how to, delete the tenant even when I have this, I can't delete this enterprise application, but I want to delete the tenant and it is holding me up. And despite refreshing multiple times, it still holds me up. So what I had to do was in the properties, I had to enable this thing. I had to disable that. So users are not enabled now to sign in. And then I save it. And then I go back here. And if I refresh it now, it's all cleaned. I mean, it's all now stated, it's all good to go. So now I can go back to my tenant here and delete the tenant. So this has successfully deleted tenant now. If I go back to home and if I click on Azure Active Directory now, So it still shows this tenant, but if I log out and log in again, you will see that this tenant is gone. So I will do the same now. I'll just log out and log back in. So I have signed out and then I closed the browser and came back in. And now if you go to home and click on Azure Active Directory, so only thing available is default directory in here and the other Manju demo org has gone. So that is how you delete a tenant.